Hello and welcome to the 100th episode of Breaking Mayberry. That's right, 100 episodes of fiddling with the remote while Rome burns. I'm one of your hosts, I'm Marty Schneider.
I'm the other host, Dan Ledwig.
And hanging out with us today for our 100th episode celebration is a good friend of the show. He's been here before. You've heard him every year because you listen to our Christmas episode every year.
Of course.
From Christmas Creeps and my former partner at Something Awful Current Releases and Front Row Central and a bunch of other things, Mr. Joe Wade. Joe, welcome to the show again.
Well, golly! Guys, congratulations on 100.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you. Thanks for having me on tonight. I can't wait to celebrate with you.
They told us we couldn't do it.
They begged us not to. They said there has to be something better you can do with your lives.
I tried to warn you,
Yeah.
but you didn't listen.
Get out of here, kid. You don't want none of this.
And that's actually why you're here, right? Because you did try to warn us, and we brought you on because you are a North Carolina man.
I'm your local Mayberry representative, I guess.
Yeah. And today we're
going up the river like in Apocalypse Now to see pure evil. Like this Wade is our guide into the heart of darkness.
This is the mid-level boss fight for us. Like
I'm your Dennis Hopper. Let me show you something.
Because we are not doing an episode of the Andy Griffith Show for our 100th episode. No. That would be far too simple.
No, that wouldn't be punishing enough.
No. That wouldn't make us hate ourselves enough. Instead, we are taking on the Kickstarter fan-produced narrative film, Mayberry Man. You've heard us talk about it before. It's basically like written and produced by the Andy Griffith Show Rerun Watchers Club, our enemies and eventual murderers.
Yes, 100%.
And they made a fucking movie. They put together a goddamn movie of their own, and we watched it. But before I get into this, I want to celebrate somebody doing something nice with in quotation marks here.
Vaguely threatening, but nice.
Yeah, we have a new mascot, I guess. A mascot was forced upon us at Breaking Mayberry. You know, I for 100 episodes, I've been complaining we don't get enough fan art, and that monkey's paw has curled.
Yeah.
So, Breaking Mayberry superfan patron Not Your Guts created us an adorable little character, a mascot named Maynard Berry. I'm going to say Maynard J. Berry.
Yeah.
He's a broken berry, which means he's a berry, like, with a body, but he's got, like, a head wound. And
also, he sometimes has a knife?
He appeared as a vision and would not leave until he was made manifest. So, if you're looking at your phone or whatever right now, Maynard Berry is gonna be the album art for this episode, and maybe all episodes going forward. But just a weird little berry man wearing scrappy clothing and saying ominous things like, let me put this, are you prepared? Are you prepared to face the sort of death you've earned for yourself? I want to point out, in the Breaking Mayberry Discord, Guts sends these to us at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I wake up to these.
Slender Man shit.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely good. They've started putting it in the background of Andy Griffith episodes. So now there's a whole mythos around Maynard Berry, which I guess is my plug here to join the Patreon, because you can get in on all of this. Not a strong plug. Not a strong plug. Not my best. You can also see that on our Twitter page at Break Mayberry. See, I did all the plugs up front.
Boom.
So.
I just imagine he has like a Gomer Pyle voice, right?
Oh,
he has to. Oblivion comes for us all.
I'm behind you, watching you in the darkness.
Y'all just kind of sound like Goofy.
It's a thin line.
It's a very high-pitched Goofy, yeah.
Yup.
Oblivion comes for us all.
The darkness is encroaching on you slowly.
Look, we already did Kingdom Hearts on this show. We already covered that.
You know, when you guys invited me on this show for the 100th and you said you had something very special planned, I immediately assumed you were going to say, let's watch Return to Mayberry. And I was ready for that.
Yeah.
And then Marty sprung whatever this was on me.
Okay.
We should do a quick disclaimer because sometimes we watch something bad on this show, and then people watch that bad thing so that they can follow along with us. Under no circumstances, it's $6 on Amazon. Under no circumstances should you give these dicks your money. If you can pirate it in some way, cool. But like, we'll walk you through it. Do not join us down this.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about this a little bit. So you've heard us talk about the Andy Griffith Show Rerun Watchers Club before, and when we started this, like we thought, like, all right, this is just like a fan club, whatever. I try not to shit on people for things that they like. You know, we all have weird things. I try not to judge people. But the more I learned about this group, the more I like infiltrated their like websites and things, the weirder and stranger it became. And finally, very recently, I read an article about the Andy Griffith Show Rerun Watchers Club. On MeTV.com. Of course it is. What I learned was, I'll just read, first off, I will read the beginning of this. It talks about the founding of this club, which is basically at a frat party in 1979, a group of Vanderbilt students gathered before the television in the Phi Kappa Sigma house. Jim Clark, a North Carolina kid, put the club together. They were not doing, your normal frat house things. They were a bunch of college kids getting around to watch the Andy Griffith Show. It started out tongue-in-cheek, but it really caught on, Jim Clark told the Associated Press in 1983. I was surprised at how many people were fanatics about it, like I am. Blah, 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 blah. After graduating, Clark was working as a writer. He kept his Andy Griffith Show club going. When a station takes it off the air, we write them, the 23-year-old explained. He's not 23. Maybe he was 23 in 1979. That might make more sense. Okay. Anyway, it goes on to say that they specifically exist, this club specifically exists to keep this show on the air. Meaning when people try to take this show off the air, they harass them. They do letter writing campaigns to keep specifically the Andy Griffith Show. I don't think they've done a whole lot for Gomer Pyle or for the spinoff Mayberry RF. And so their mission is clear: keep Mayberry on the air. The Andy Griffith Show Rerun Watchers Club has 12,000 members around the world, so not a small number, right? Including, I think they say, let's see, Ted Turner obviously was a member of this. Of course Ted Turner was. Ted Turner basically built an entire TV network off of Atlanta Braves games and Andy Griffith Show reruns. Anyway, so that's what this show, and they also credit themselves, possibly accurately, with getting the Mayberry reunion, or the Andy Griffith Show reunion show, Return to Mayberry, made in 1986, which is the movie that Joe thought we were going to make him watch. Okay, so this weird cult is dedicated to harassing people to keep their show on the air. Fine, whatever. Fandom. Not really whatever, but fandoms are weird. Like, whomst among us has never signed a petition to bring back Firefly or some dumb shit?
Yeah, when Community gets canceled for the 6th time and we all had to send, like, capes to the NBC office or some bullshit? Imagine living in a constant state of that voluntarily.
Yeah, but, I mean, again, it is for a show that it's for reruns. You're yelling at them for taking reruns off the air.
Fucking horrible.
So, very recently, in the past couple of years, some members of the club, along with some fucking, I'm going to say Hollywood washouts, who are all at some way related to the Andy Griffith Show, put together a Kickstarter campaign, and this kind of came across my desk, for what they call Mayberry Man, which is it's a narrative film, sort of. There's not really any narrative. So they put together a Kickstarter. They got $150,000 pledged for $100,000. So keep that in mind. $150,000 was the budget for this movie. And I will go ahead and read you straight from the Kickstarter what this film is about. This is a feature film, period. A big shot movie star gets busted in Georgia for speeding and is sentenced by the judge to attend Mayberry Fest, a one-week festival in Mayberry, North Carolina, celebrating the Andy Griffith Show. Throughout his week in the friendly little town, he learns that with a little respect, kindness, and laughter, there is a little Mayberry in all of us. Yeah. So that's about the level of writing that you can expect from this film. And then the poster, which was made in GIMP, has a Porsche or a Ferrari with the California license plate Mayberry Man, and they've changed the Hollywood sign to read Mayberry, and the tagline is, "He was sentenced to a better life." Now, what I should point out here, if you watch the trailer for this, and maybe I'll put the trailer in here, the main character, the big shot movie star, his name is Chris Stone. His father was, in the movie, Walter Stone, somebody who appeared in season 3 in a couple of episodes. I don't think Walter Stone's a real person. We've done season 3 already, and I don't think he appeared. But here's what I need to fucking point out to you. Here's what I need to point out. The producers of this movie are a pair of brothers. The producer and director are a pair of brothers. Their names are Stark and Court Howell.
Mm-hmm.
They are the children of Hoke Howell, who you and I have seen in 2 fucking episodes of this show. He played the original Dud Walsh.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So everybody, every producer, everyone on this show or on this movie is like a fail son of the Andy Griffith Show.
Yeah.
Don Knotts' daughter makes an appearance. Andy Griffith's daughter is in the producing, listed as a producer. The movie stars Brett Varvel, who this name only matters to me. He is the son of Gary Varvel, who is a political cartoonist, a shitty one at that. Like, has opinions just as bad as like Ben Garrison, but his art isn't interesting or salacious or enticing or even good enough.
His name sounds like you tried to say Brett Favre while really drunk.
Oh, well, you might be interested to know that Gary Varvel is also in American Underdog, the Kurt Warner story.
Of course.
Can I jump in here for a second? Because I also have a connection for this.
So goddamn long.
Stark Howell, I have encountered, as a podcaster rather, I have encountered this man before because I looked up his credits on IMDb, and the only other like directing credit that he has is for 18 episodes of Hey Arnold.
Yes.
Specifically Arnold's Christmas, which we on Christmas Creeps have covered before.
I watch Arnold's Christmas every year, and it's goddamn good.
It's legitimately a great episode
year.
of TV. Yeah. It's wonderful.
So,
and then this.
So thank you, Stark, for giving me that. And I mean, everyone here is a relative of the Andy Griffith Show, which kind of puts their whole mission to keep the Andy Griffith Show in the spotlight a little into question, like the merits of it, really.
Oh, it's a bunch of people dry humping the corpses of their parents' careers. Like, that's what this movie is just people exhuming corpses and just being like, I'm like them! I'm also famous!
So they say to write what you know, and this is a movie about a man whose claim to fame was that his dad was in 3 episodes of the Andy Griffith Show. Whew, boy, must have been a real stretch for these guys to write it, huh? Jesus Christ.
Yikes.
And look, I know I'm harsh on these people.
Okay, so we have had
if you've never listened to the show before, this is a weird one to jump in on.
So we have had a journey with these people. Like, when we started, we had like a mild fascination with the hardcore Andy Griffith Show fans. We briefly thought that we would interact with them in some way and kind of develop like a friendly rapport, which then sort of transitioned into light judgment, where we tried to not be too much of dicks, but like also we're like, hey, you guys are kind of weird. And then by this point, open hatred and animosity. Just like minute to minute bile projected at them.
I mean, for me, pretty much the dividing line was when the 2 main members of this club appeared on the Mike Huckabee show to promote this movie. Like, it's not hard. It's not hard to guess the like political affiliations of anyone involved with this and how they would not jive with us at all. I don't feel that bad about doing this because, well, as we'll get into right here, there's a fine line between loving a thing and thinking that you are better than other people for loving that fucking thing. And that's what goddamn Mayberry Man is.
Can I just say, like, if you took that $150,000 and used that to like take you and all your friends to the actual Mayberry days in Mount Airy, North Carolina, you would be less embarrassed than you are watching this movie.
Am I right that you've been to this shit?
I have. I've been exactly one time, and I've been up there to, various other like events in that town since then. It's not as cringingly embarrassing as this portrays it to be.
Yeah, if this movie is supposed to be like an advertisement for Mayberry Days, it doesn't do a very good job of it. It makes it look like the worst thing ever.
It looks absolutely agonizing.
And look, I'm willing to give things the benefit of the doubt. I'm willing to go and do stupid things like that are embarrassing or cringe. But
Joe, walk us through your experiences
tell us
at
about
Mayberry.
Okay, well, so just to kind of reiterate, like, my experience with the show, if you haven't encountered me before, like, I do live in North Carolina. I grew up here, and the Andy Griffith Show, being a show about and based on a small town in North Carolina, like, it's just one of those things that we just all kind of grew up with, like, just not really even questioning. It comes on TV once a day, every day, and has since the 60s, and you just kind of grow up with it as like, okay, it's just a thing around here. Like, you can appreciate it. You can say, no, thank you. It's whatever, no pressure. But then like living, I live within an hour of Mount Airy, North Carolina, which is where Mayberry Days is held every year. And it's a quaint little small town. They have a couple of different like Andy Griffith Show things around. You can see the squad car, you can see Floyd's barbershop and the snappy lunch counter, and that's about it. If you want to go to Mayberry Days itself, yeah, it's a pretty big festival, like a street fair. It's it's any street fair you've ever been to. It's just with more emphasis on like appreciating. See, I'm trying to be very nice about it.
Why? Okay, if you want to be nice about this whole thing, we're gonna have to cut that shit out.
No, really. Like what they show in this film, the way that people act in this film is not my experience of going up there and seeing it firsthand. Is all I'm saying. Like this is like what fans at a convention think. Like this, like they think that this is like a sci-fi convention for Mayberry nerds, and it really isn't.
Is there like the amount of cosplayers at it?
The one time I went, I really didn't know. There were a couple, sure. Like, of course you're going to see a guy dressed up like Floyd. Of course you're going to see a Barney Fife impersonator. But that's really it, as far as I could tell.
So like, it wasn't just like wall to wall Aunt Bees just rolling around.
No, there's not a parade of Ernest T. Basses like running down the street. It's just not that.
Okay.
So wait, so this movie didn't match your experience of going there at all?
No, not at all.
Well, then what the fuck were they doing here?
Better yet, what the fuck are you doing here? Bye, Joe.
No, well,
enjoy your night.
This is something that I found out while watching this and stopping constantly to research, like, is this correct? Are they for real? They didn't even film this in Mount Airy. They filmed it in Indiana at some other small town that apparently has a Mayberry Days of its very own. I'm sure this is what that looked like out there.
They franchised? It's spreading like a fucking virus?
Yeah, Dan, do you remember when we watched the credits? There was a lot of filming in Indiana for some reason.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, they've got multiple of these fucking things going.
I will say, though,
I want the fucking National Guard deployed. It could be in your hometown tomorrow.
I will say this, though. Like, I feel like they probably filmed this, like, they had the festival, and then I feel like they had a fake festival for the filming of this, because they keep talking about how the crowds are big and everything, and there are 24 people at most in every single frame. And it's so weird. This movie had a lot of, well, not a lot. This movie had some high-powered equipment that was used very poorly.
Yeah.
Like there are scenes where, like, it's supposed to look like people are getting mobbed coming out of a theater, but because they don't know how to shoot in anything but a wide shot, you can literally see that there's only like 12 people standing outside of the theater, and you can see all the empty space on every other side of the street.
And if you pay real close attention to the extras in this film, it's the same 12 people that show up in every single scene.
They all paid for this.
Yeah.
They all paid money. And look, And I know that I'm being, like, a dick about this. This is my Twitter brain coming in where I feel like I have to apologize for everything before I say it. Look, if you want to go and make a movie with your friends about this thing that you love, you know, whatever. Do it. That's fine. What really gets me, what annoys me about this particular instance is it's very sanctimonious. It's very, we know better than you and we know how life is supposed to be because this is the thing that we're into.
Okay. No, I'm not on Twitter, so I don't have to, like, pull my punches like either of you guys. These people fucking suck. Okay. Like,
he's not wrong.
Yeah. Okay. No, this is like, take the worst fandom in the fucking world. Take Star Wars fans or Harry Potter people. And, like, at the end of the day, what they say about the thing is like, well, you know, it makes me really happy and it taught me to be a better person or so and so and so. I looked at Luke Skywalker and he made me want to be braver. These motherfuckers are like, I like this and it's a profound statement on the nature of fucking America. Like, it is, like, I don't think, like, I can't think of any other fandom where they're like, this thing is great, and also it should inform every single way you interact with any human being ever. You should,
and how you vote?
Yeah. Like, maybe the only thing that, like, comes close to, like, being a cohesive worldview is, like, Steven Universe fandom, and even they know when to fucking stop. Like, there's nothing where it seems there's no fandom that requires that you take the thing they like and lodge it into your brainstem and operate on it on a permanent basis.
So, it's been 25 minutes. Let's get into the fucking movie, shall we? Let's talk about this goddamn thing.
Okay, it's every Hallmark Christmas movie you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it operates on, like, Hallmark Christmas movie, like, level, but Hallmark Christmas movies have internal logic. This looks like somebody read the fucking Wikipedia entry of a Hallmark Christmas movie and was like, I gotcha.
It's like someone loaded a Hallmark Christmas movie into a shotgun and blasted it in your face because, like, all the parts are in different orders. Like, the emotional catharsis is over here, and the wacky sidekick is over here, and this part is over here. Like, it's all out of order and just this kind of, like, insane cacophony of, like, Hallmark bullshit.
So, in case you didn't know what this was, it opens with some real poorly written copy. It opens with, like, a shot of the fake set that they've built in Mount Airy, North Carolina, and, like, something written over it just like, this TV show has inspired generations and nothing has ever been more popular than this. And it gives us, like, that's the prologue.
In 1960, a father took his son fishing, and we've never stopped watching. Like, they're dancing so hard around not saying the phrase "The Andy Griffith Show," and I think it's because they legally can't say it.
Is that what it fucking is? Is it like they can't, like, the
CBS?
big game with the Super Bowl?
Maybe. So they clearly got, like, the blessings of certain cast members, who's, like, you know, Don Knotts' daughter is in the movie.
Yeah.
But apparently they didn't get, like, the Andy Griffith estate didn't sign off on it. Somebody at Paramount didn't sign off on it. So they're just like, well, I guess it's just going to be Cosplay the movie then.
It's very strange. Like, we should get this out of the way. They don't say the word Andy Griffith ever.
It's so weird.
It's so weird. It's bizarre, and I'm gonna say almost disrespectful that they go so long without fucking saying Andy Griffith's name. And I think it's come down to, like, they don't give a shit about Andy Griffith himself, to be honest.
No.
Like, they don't care about it. They care about the idea of Mayberry to the point where they have willfully deluded themselves into changing the name of the show in their head.
And not just the show, but the town itself, because they never once say the name Mount Airy. It is, in fact, Mayberry.
They call the town Mayberry. They're like, welcome to this place, Mayberry, which is a real location that you are currently standing in.
I mean, if I was being generous, I would be like, all right, well, they call it Mayberry during Mayberry days, whatever, I don't give a shit. And Mount Airy, North Carolina does put a lot of Mayberry, like, shit into their...
Oh, yeah.
The Mayberry, the real Mayberry Tourism Bureau follows us on Twitter for a mistake. As far as I can tell. So it opens with this, and then it starts in the courtroom. It opens in the courtroom, and I realized, why are we doing this? So it starts with Chris Stone on trial for his speeding ticket and for trespassing, I guess, or stealing peaches
no.
the town.
So he's at trial for going 105 in a 45. And the big thing that people gasp at is that he parked in front of the courthouse and ate a peach off of their sacred peach tree, which causes everybody to gasp.
I noticed that they didn't show him doing this, which is very interesting to me. They
don't have peaches in California, okay?
Yeah.
So he's charged with that, and then Chris Stone's lawyer gets up and says, hey, we filed for discovery, and the sheriff never sent us anything, therefore, this is a mistrial, which is a slam fucking dunk.
True! 100% true!
Yeah, and the sheriff is just like, what documents? It was a speeding ticket. And it's like, you still have to send that to him.
I mean, if it's a fucking speeding ticket, my man, then why are we all here?
Yeah.
Like, this is a civil matter at best. Right? It makes no sense. They mail you a goddamn speeding ticket. I'm sorry, even the most backwoods counties of Georgia, well, they can look at your fucking license plate and mail it to you. You don't ever have to go to court for that.
I've seen my cousin Vinny. Judges in the South take this shit seriously. Herman Munster, you better listen to his act.
That's fair. But that's murder, my man. That's when you think you stole a can of tuna and you actually got busted for murdering a clerk.
Oh, everything is murder. It don't matter.
They got nothing but free time down there with their justice system.
Anyway, you already know where this goes. Chris is he doesn't pay attention in court. He's calling his agent, and then he gets sentenced to go to Mayberry Days in North Carolina. Which, look, I don't like to nitpick this fucking level. I don't like to do the cinema sins thing where I look at plot holes, but a fucking judge in Georgia, in Peach-ass County, Georgia, cannot send you across state lines for punishment.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. No, we have to talk about how fucking insanely egregious this judge's sentencing is. Because he says, all right, for your speeding ticket, your community services, you have to attend an event that I run for a week. You have to fly out to Georgia to attend my thing, a festival I do, with 5 fucking days of your life. No fucking, the lawyer should have just stood up and be like, well, I own this courtroom now, so I hope you guys enjoyed having a town, because that was several lawsuits that you just caused to happen.
All right, so there it is. I guess if that didn't happen, ordinarily when people get this nitpicky with stuff, I go, well, if they did that, they wouldn't have a fucking movie, dumbass. But hey, guess what? We shouldn't have had this fucking movie.
Come up with a better crime. You don't have to do speeding ticket. Say that he stole something or was drunk driving.
Drunk driving. Easy
crashed a car into the courthouse.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. He literally he ate a peach and drove over the speed limit.
I mean, I think that's one of the failings. And whenever I used to, Joe, remember when I used to have to review Christian movies for current releases?
Oh yeah.
I noticed this weird thing where since they want to shy away from showing people doing bad things, then the redemption arcs never really make that much sense because we never saw the person doing bad to begin with. For the first couple of minutes of this movie, his only sins, Chris Stone's only sins are he didn't pay attention in a trial that was clearly bullshit, and he was snippy with his agent, who we never heard the other side of those phone calls. Maybe his agent deserves to be fucking snippy with. Chris Stone actually seems like an okay guy for the beginning of this. They don't do enough because they're pussies.
Yeah, he's just an actor. That's all we know about it. He's just an actor. Okay, I've met a few actors before. Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He's stressed about his career. He's yelling at his agent because his career is tanking and he really needs to be in another movie.
I've seen This Is Us. I know how this works.
Yeah.
What, Death Figure 8 wasn't big enough for you?
Okay, we need to talk about the fake movies.
Yeah, nope, time for that.
Okay, so at one point in time, we go to Chris's house, and we see posters on the wall for his fake movies. And I gotta be honest, this is the best part of the movie. I love these fake movies.
Joe, which fake movie was your favorite?
I mean, it's gotta be Vegan Gringo, right?
Vegan Gringo! It's gotta be Vegan Gringo! That's such a... Oh, if everything else in the movie was half as funny as Vegan Gringo...
It's going... That phrase might be the last thing I think before I die.
Like, I was almost about to say, like, this movie's greatest sin was, like, a failure of imagination. But honestly, Vegan Gringo is pretty damn good.
I wish they had gone full Tropic Thunder for it. You know, I wish we had gotten trailers for these fake movies.
Oh, man.
I genuinely want to see the movie Slick, tagline, Black is the New Black.
Like,
I would kickstart these movies.
So much creativity went into these 3 posters that just hang out in the back for one scene, and I lost my shit.
I mean, can we the movie that was his big break that he talks about a lot is called Shingletown, which just makes me think a town where everybody has shingles. I don't understand how you're supposed to picture literally anything else.
Did y'all catch the other movie that he talks about early on in the film? Satan's Game Plan?
Yes, I have that written down.
Satan's Game Plan tanked. Right?
Which I can only imagine is a movie about the devil coaching a football team, which I have to see.
The devil coaching a little league team.
Yes.
The devil came down to Georgia to help these kids win a state pennant.
Oh my god.
Let's go ahead.
Fuck, I want to kickstart that fucking movie now.
So they run through this shit. The fucking courtroom scene ends. By the way, I was like, this is sub-community theater acting on everybody except for, I'll give credit where it's due. Gary Varvel is trying, right? Brett Varvel.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Brett Varvel is trying. He's trying to be an actor. He's trying to do his range. And he, like, pushes all of his range out in the first 12 minutes of the movie. Like, they get to the, like, Dad was an alcoholic and he ruined my life kind of thing way fucking early in the movie. Like,
insanely early. They have the big, like, cathartic, it's not your fault, Good Will Hunting scene immediately, where he's like, here's all my baggage and here's my emotional catharsis. Dad was there for you. He was drunk and abusive to my mom. I haven't forgiven him. That's why I'm an actor. Here's all my baggage. All right, we're done. Cool. Here you go. That's all my depth.
Okay, so again, cowards. Oh, look, I don't mean to downplay emotional abuse or anything like that, or being in a bad marriage or anything, but like, Brett specifically says, like, or Chris Stone specifically says, he became an alcoholic and he was yelling at Mom every night. Okay, that's bad. We all know it could be worse. It could be worse if you didn't want to redeem this guy in a minute or whatever. I don't know. He says all this, by the way, to his older brother who shows up at his house. And by older, I mean a fucking full generation older.
A man who could be his father.
Like, it's very weird. There are literally 2 people in this cast under the age of 50. Like, at one point in time, he goes out, like, surfing with a guy who is supposed to be his best friend, I guess? We never see that guy ever again. But he's like, and this guy only says words like, you need to chill, man. And you need to relax, man. And chill, man. And those are his only 5 lines.
When we go out surfing, you're gonna have a super chill, awesome time. The waves are gonna take away all your bad stuff, bro.
Anyway, this guy has an AARP membership. So
it's so great. So they establish that he's upset because his dad became a raging alcoholic and became vaguely abusive. Like, they don't really, like, say the degree to which he was bad. They were like, he was yelling ... So you could really put any degree of terribleness in those parentheses. And then his brother just goes like, man, we're all over that. You need to just get past it.
Right. He says, like, Mom forgave him. But she didn't, because they clearly split up, right? Also, the writing in this is so unclear that Dan and I at one point in time had to pause the movie and be like, is the dad dead? We had to have a long discussion.
Yeah. I assumed like dad was in like a convalescent home or something, because at the end it's made out to be like a tragic reveal, like, oh, dad died, and through the course of events of the movie. But it's not clear at all.
No!
Like, again, when his older brother, who is fucking, I don't know, Bradley Whitford, like, that kind of, like, age and level of person, comes in and he's like, hey, you should really be storing some of dad's stuff. And when you talk about storing someone's stuff in a movie, my first assumption is, oh, dad died. That's
that guy's
code.
Hella dead.
That's
yeah.
That's how you tell the audience something without telling them something. And then I had to kind of piece together later, oh wait, dad's not dead, he's just in a home? Or something? Did he sell his condo? What's going on with dad? Because I feel like there were, like, people didn't communicate with each other between scenes. Older brother says, yeah, dad used to go to Mayberry Days all the time until he got too old. But then we get to Mayberry Days, and Alan Newsom, the leader of the Andy Griffith Show Rerun Watchers Club, says to the crowd, Dad Stone can't be here this year, but he sends his regards. So is this the first year he hasn't been? I don't know.
Yes?
It's dumb. It's stupid. Shut up. I don't care.
Also, so they blew all of their money in the first, like, 6 scenes. Where, like, they spent all their money on Chris Stone's house. They spent all of it on his red sports car that he's, like, blasting around town in. And then they get to Mayberry Days, and the money is gone. Like, it is fully... They have blown all of it. And the production quality goes to absolute shit.
I mean, I feel like half of this movie is shot in a La Quinta Inn. Like...
Yeah. Oh no, the hotel room scenes are like glaringly obvious.
They were paying for like the tail end of this movie with airline miles. Like they were bleeding.
I have seen porn that took place in nicer hotel rooms than this.
Like if you told me that they just strolled into town like at the tail end of like a Mayberry Days event and just said, hey, can we pay y'all like $100 to just keep all the signs up for a week or two? Like I would 100% buy that, because that's kind of the look of it.
Which at one point he walked into his hotel room and I screamed, he's a movie star. He can't afford a queen bed. Like he was in a DoubleTree Inn room with 2 twins.
The movie is really confused about how much movie stars make and how much like Chris Stone is worth at all entirely, right?
No, you see, Mayberry is a small town. They don't have fancy things like queen beds and shit like that.
Right,
you can't rent a car in Mayberry. You gotta be shuttled around by the weird village guy.
Okay, I gotta ask, Joe, as a North Carolinian, how did you feel about the portrayal of North Carolina folk?
First of all, it's North Carolinian, but go off.
Oh, shut your ass down.
I stand corrected. I'm just gonna have another drink here.
Go
Joe?
sit in the corner of the podcast, idiot.
I mean, the Southern accent, like you're listening to me talk right now. I don't have that much of a Southern accent, but like the Southern accents in this film are so cartoonishly over the top. It almost killed me.
Are you so in your hometown? Are you like legally obligated to be shuttled around in minivans by guys who won't shut up? Is that just like your equivalent of the subway? Because that was my impression from watching this.
So
I mean that's pretty much it, unless you're the guy who owns the car, in which case, yeah, someone's in your back seat at all times.
So yeah, Chris and his personal assistant Shane, who has, I'm gonna say, big church gay energy.
You know, I could not put a word to what I thought about this man, but there it is.
Church gay, like,
yeah,
yeah. There's no other. Like very like a lot of energy of like, hey, let's take off our shirts and wrestle and just see like no big deal. Let's just hang out like buds being buds.
So he and Shane go to Mayberry together. They are shuttled around a guy named, I don't know, Dennis. That's not his name, but I'm gonna call him that now. Who's this big, like, bald, big southern drawl. Hey, y'all having fun? Hey, blah, blah, blah. He's doing an Andy Griffith bit, or he's doing I wrote down, is this guy doing a Gomer? Is he supposed to be their Gomer? And
no, because we haven't met that character yet.
Did you guys write down ratings for all the cosplayers that you saw?
Ooh.
I didn't, but I should have. Like
We'll
do that.
We'll
do that.
And for the record, like, this is what I mean when I say that this shit is pretentious. They don't call them cosplayers, Dan. They're called tribute artists.
Which, like, if you compare them to cosplayers, like, the amount of, like, craft and love a guy puts into becoming Sephiroth compared to this guy who is, like, he slaps on a policeman's hat and is like, I'm gonna almost do an accent. I'm Barney Fife. I'm a tribute artist. Like, fuck off.
It's really weird, and like his Don Nuts is probably one of the better ones. Alan Newsom. I gotta talk about Alan goddamn Newsom, alright? This dude is
our nemesis?
I guess Bizarro World me. Look, he's been doing this goddamn podcast, Two Chairs No Waiting, for 25 years or something like that. Like, in a way, I have some begrudging respect because he's like an old head of the internet. One of the earliest adopters. He's been doing this for so damn long, and he's been so committed to this. He's famous in the world. I feel like I have to have respect for anyone who builds a community like this. I do. But holy shit, what a weirdo!
It's a shit community. No, you don't. You don't, under any circumstances, gotta hand it to him.
He's been doing this Floyd impression for, I don't know, most of my lifetime. And it sucks, man! It's not a great impression!
No, it's ass!
Honestly, it sounds more like he's doing like a really awful, like, Bob Dylan kind of half asleep impression than anything else.
I got Rip Taylor, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's memorized all the mannerisms. He knows to do the stutter. He knows the thing to do with his hands. He knows all the maneuvers.
Fidget with the tie.
But he doesn't have any of the heart behind it. Like, he's not, like, actually being the guy. He's just his normal ass self, and he's like, oh, and now I stutter. Like, he's just doing the things.
If anything, he's doing a very good impression of Goober Pyle doing an impression of a celebrity. Which is a joke you all don't get, but you'll get it in the next episode. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh man, but he does that joke in the movie too. So
they bust out a Goober Pyle.
They really do.
Look,
man. Okay, so my piece about the Barney Fife guy in this movie.
Yeah, okay.
I want to talk about
that guy.
Because of course there's a Barney Fife guy in this movie. And if you've lived on planet Earth long enough, you've probably seen a Barney Fife impersonator on TV. That man's name is David Browning. They apparently could not afford him for this movie.
Go on the Mike Huckabee show, and there will be 5 Barney Fife impersonators on there. Like,
wait, hang on. I'm sorry, Dan, I'm going to cut you off. Joe, tell me more about this Barney Fife impersonator that you know by name.
I only know about him by name because I looked him up last night. But this guy, like, if you live in North Carolina, you've seen him in countless, like, commercials for like used car dealerships. He will invariably show up as Barney Fife to say that we gotta nip these prices in the bud.
Okay,
all
fine.
the time, and he's been doing it for 30 fucking years.
Okay, fine. If you live in North Carolina and you can do a decent Don Knotts impression, more power to you.
You're set for fucking life.
But like, what I'm saying is, like, this guy, he's the guy. His website, he has like an entire like 6-page list of all the places he's played Barney Fife in the world, and they couldn't get that guy.
No, what they did get was Rick Roberts. And gentlemen, I just put Rick Roberts' website in our chat.
Okay.
Rick Roberts is available for entertainment and keynotes and clean comedy for your corporate events and retreats.
Oh, I hate it.
Oh, great.
Oh, God, I just hate looking at his face so fucking much.
I'll say this. I am impressed by, like, maybe these are old photographs, but he manages to age himself about 15 years in this movie.
Okay, all right. So he is sort of a good he's sort of a good impersonator. Like, he kind of gets a piece of it. But the problem is, he looks abso-fucking-lutely nothing like Don Knotts. Like, not even in the same country as Don Knotts. So seeing a guy commit this hard to doing the character while looking fuck all like him is so disorienting. Like, it's unpleasant to watch. It feels like someone, like, wearing Don Knotts' face as a skin suit. It's horrifying.
For the record, like, Karen Knotts, Don's daughter, is right there. And she's got to watch this dude do impressions of her dad while looking nothing like...
Did she sign off on him?
She must have, right? She's a fucking producer on this.
Yeah.
Do you think he walked up to her and be like, "Hey, Karen, it's me, your dad. Do you want to go have a game of catch?"
Yes. Yes, I 100% believe that happened. Which is also embarrassing because Karen Knotts is 50 goddamn years old.
You know what before this, her last feature film credit was? Hobgoblins 2.
Oh.
But Karen Knotts does show up in the show, in this movie, to plug her one-woman show tied up in knots. And to be clear, this is everyone gets a plug in this movie.
It is that Karen Knotts' appearance in this movie is unfathomably sad, because she shows up and she is like, "Hey, I'm Don Knotts' daughter, and it sure is great when all the fans of the Andy Griffith Show come to my one-woman show tied up in knots." And, like, just this desperate pleading plug. And then later, they show her coming out of her one-woman show while being mobbed by fans. And it just reeks of desperation.
So, yeah, back to Alan Newsom. He's been doing this for so long, and he runs this entire community. And I'm gonna say, yeah, he runs fucking his podcast the way that I'm kind of the way that I'm kind of the force between Breaking Mayberry.
Yeah,
like
100%.
I'm the one that forces you to do this. So I don't know. I feel like I'm seeing a weird version of him, or like he could be like a Bizarro World version of my dad. I'm sorry, Dad. You're way cooler than that. I apologize. Fuck.
He has dad energy, but like your friend's dad. That's always kind of around. Like the friend's dad that keeps interrupting your sleepover.
Well, I fucked up raising my own kids, so maybe in a weird way I can help raise somebody else's kids.
That's a better Floyd impression. Joe, kill this man and take his job.
I don't want that job. I don't want that heat, man. Then you're going to be doing a podcast about how I'm terrible twice a week.
That is actually how you become the new Floyd, is you have to kill the previous Floyd and then drink his essence, and now you are the alpha. And
really...
Santa Claus rules.
Yeah.
Which
really,
Joe would know all about. Now, wouldn't he?
It really is true. You keep what you kill.
It operates... The Mayberry universe operates on Riddick rules.
Okay.
It doesn't not run on Riddick rules till Mayberry-verse come.
You know, I think every good fandom should in some way resemble the Necromongers. I've always said that.
What is the spike to the neck if not a nip in the bud? I didn't know I had so many Riddick jokes in me tonight. I'm sorry.
Oh, God.
Okay, look, we're at an hour mark and we've barely gotten to the part where Chris Stone shows up in Mayberry. Okay.
Oh, so no, this is going 3 fucking hours. Are you kidding me?
So Chris Stone shows up in Mayberry, and right away, I, as someone who has been to Mount Airy, immediately goes, "That's not Mount Airy." Look it up. It's Danville. It's not even Danville, Virginia, which would have been fine because that's like a stone's throw from Mayberry. No, this is Danville, Indiana, the other fake Mayberry in America. And I'm immediately just incensed at this. Like, you couldn't just go to the fucking place, you guys. Really?
That is driving me insane hearing you say that. Why? First off, I don't understand why Danville, Indiana, I don't understand why Danville, Indiana has anything to do with the Andy Griffith Show whatsoever. I don't know why they have their own festival. But
they're weird creeps.
Like, if
what?
the real answer to this was, oh, COVID happened, like, I could at least respect that. But no, Mount Airy shows up in the movie. That makes it even more fucking inscrutable.
100% the government of Mount Airy wanted too much of a cut. That is what it was.
I believe it.
Yeah, they were like, oh, you're filming a Andy Griffith show here? We want 10%. And they were like, let's go to Indiana!
Because they had to film some scenes there, right? They show up at the, like, fake jailhouse that we've seen on CBS Today that Ted Koppel sat in, and so it was like, hey, so how did your show feel about black people? And pissed off a lot of people. But that's also, this is kind of the follow-up to that. We did an episode earlier where Ted Koppel bit on our shit. You owe us money, Koppel. Fuck. And these people got real mad about that. Anyway, so they clearly did some scenes in this, and they went to the Loaded Goat restaurant. Joe, you've been to the Loaded. You went to the Loaded Goat like last week, right?
No, well, not last week. It was like a couple months ago. But like, okay, so at this point in the movie, we're 40 minutes in, and I'm still like, where the fuck is Mount Airy? And then all of a sudden, there's a scene where Chris and his assistant go to have lunch at this restaurant. It's called the Loaded Goat, which is a reference to the Andy Griffith Show. That's the actual Loaded Goat. I've been there. I know exactly what it looks like. That is indeed that restaurant. So I know they at some point made it to Mount Airy.
How is the Loaded Goat, Joe?
Chris is not lying. Their burgers are fantastic.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
But by my count, through the entire film, only 3 scenes were actually shot in Mayberry, or I'm doing it now, in Mount Airy, and actually made it into the film. So like 98% of the film, Indiana. Fuck
that.
That's insane.
That. Holy shit. Fuck that.
That is
okay. So
absolutely infuriating.
I mean,
who would you say is the worst cosplayer amongst all these?
The worst cosplayer is definitely the guy playing Mr. Schwab.
Oh, God.
So there's a guy playing Mr. Schwab who... Schwab? It's an Andy Griffith joke that I guess we haven't gotten. We just now hit it in an episode that Dan and I haven't recorded yet. We just now hit the first appearance of Mr. Schwab. And remember, we're at the end of season 4. So we're more than halfway through. Mr. Schwab is a character, I guess he appears a bunch of times in the Andy Griffith Show, 20 times or so, and he never speaks. And they couldn't even get a guy with real hair.
It's incredible. We were just like, who's that guy in the unbelievably fake wig?
He's like a fucking Party City wig. All of these people look like they are doing Halloween costumes.
It doesn't even, it looks like someone just took a large mitten and just glued it to the top of his head. It doesn't even look like a toupee. It looks like a pom-pom. It's fucking incredible.
My actual thought was, did fake Floyd fake cut his fake hair? Because it looks like it.
Can we talk about the montage? There's a montage here of like all the neat stuff that happens at Mayberry, including like a Darlings impersonator playing some bluegrass and...
Yep, I've seen that. Okay, we're checking them off the list now.
Yeah, exactly. And Dan and I are like, hey, I get that. We're basically just being the fucking Chris Evans gif. I understood that reference. That reference. And then they, for reasons I don't understand, must have been because they were in Indiana, not Mount Airy, North Carolina.
Yeah. They
cut to Alan Newsom, the Floyd impersonator, like giving haircut demonstrations at a Quick Cuts. A fucking strip mall Quick Cuts, and like the whole cast, like the whole fucking Quick Cut staff is around him, or Great Cuts. I think it was Great Cuts.
Great Clips, yeah.
Great Clips, yeah. Do you think Great Clips corporate signed off on that? Because I don't.
No, 100% off. That's what they slipped the manager of it $200, and he really hoped that this didn't gain enough traction to get him fired.
Nobody at Great Clips Corporate's ever going to see this. It's okay.
I will make sure they do.
Okay, I take back everything I just said.
I think we should leverage our ability to say, tweet at Great Clips and tell them that this happened. Get someone fired.
I'm going to Sport Cuts. Goodbye.
Yeah. Just tweet at the manager and be like, hey, did you know there's a movie called Mayberry Man that was filmed in one of your locations? And just have a couple of calls made.
So Chris is asked to sign autographs at Mayberry Days. Not his own autographs. Autographs of pictures of his father. Which is an insane thing to do!
Yes! Like, imagine doing, but unfortunately, that's the thing people at fucking Mayberry Days do, which is people have the person that played Ellie, her daughter, show up and they're like, can you sign pictures of your mom? And they're like, hell yeah, I can. Like, that is a thing. Like, can you sign this picture of your dead dad in his name? Yeah, I totally can do that. Fuck yeah, give me $20.
I mean, okay, I once went to a screening of It's a Wonderful Life where Donna Reed's daughter was presenting and told some stories about her mom during the filming. So I guess that's kind of the same thing, but like, I don't want her autograph. It's a weird thing. Anyway, all right, we should talk about this movie's 3 jokes.
Oh, yeah.
There were 3?
Yeah, they have 3 moves. The first one, well, I don't know if I call it one of they have a reoccurring thing of 2 competing documentaries about Mayberry Days.
Oh my god.
Which are both real.
Yes.
Yep. Oh yeah.
What was it? The Mayberry Effect and My Life in Mayberry?
Something like that.
Yeah.
It was Mayberry, My Hometown.
Yeah, which both of the documentary guys show up and they sit on opposite sides of Chris Stone and they have a wacky feud? Would you call it that? Would it qualify as wacky?
This could have been good if they had committed to anything.
It's I think the thing against it is it's kind of realistic of how 2 guys with competing documentaries would act if they were both at Mayberry Days together, which is not very funny. It's just 2 guys being kind of dickish at each other for several scenes.
And then, so the big joke they keep harping on is Chris Stone thinks that because he's a big movie star, he's going to go to Mayberry Days and everyone's going to mob him. Oh, these bumpkins are going to mob me and go crazy. And he's not famous there. No one knows who he is. They all know his dad, except for the youths. Because, I don't know, young people know things that old people don't. And that's funny.
You were in Vegan Gringo.
I love Vegan Gringo, man. Fucking A, what else?
And they do this for roughly 40 minutes of the fucking movie, man.
It's the whole middle act.
Yeah. Were there times when you were watching this where you had to pause and you saw how much movie you were through and then you screamed to the heavens?
Several times. Several times, yes.
We were watching this together and we would pause and be like, oh yeah, one sec, I gotta get something. 15 fucking minutes? It's only been 15 goddamn minutes? And then
I stopped it when I showed Marty the loaded goat, and then I realized, oh god, it's only been 40 minutes.
Yeah. And then just a blood-curdling scream to the gods. Fucking
It took 3 hours to watch this hour-and-a-half film.
I want to briefly circle back to their Gomer, because I would put him down as the worst impression of all of them, because 1, he did not really have any sort of like voice or mannerisms, and 2, his really only qualification for being Gomer was that he looked like he worked at a gas station for a really long time. Yeah. Like, he looked like he was living Gomer's lifestyle of being partially homeless and working at a gas station.
I don't know how to say this. I thought he was in blackface for a couple of scenes.
Just life had hit him that hard.
And it turns out, no, he was just filthy.
There's a thick layer of motor oil all over his face. It's not a great look anyway. And then, yeah, you get the
It's kind of like a postmodern cosplay, because you're like, well, what would this person actually be like? And the answer is, wildly upsetting to be around.
And look, everybody gets a moment like this. Like, they specifically go to the jail just so that the Otis impersonator can do his thing where he stumbles into the jail and locks himself up.
Yep.
And I have a note here. How dare you do my man Hal Smith like this? How dare you do that to Hal Smith?
Was that man supposed to be drunk? Because he went and he was like, he just kind of did like a grimace robble kind of, and then locked himself into a jail cell.
Ain't nobody play fucking drunk like Hal Smith.
He was just
nobody
fat. He was just a fat guy, and they were like, well, this is the same thing. Like,
I gotta ask a question here, guys. What do you think the purpose of this movie is? Like, if their goal here was to get people more interested in the Andy Griffith Show, it fails. Because in order to get any of this, you have to be an Andy Griffith superfan.
Well, like the copy that they put out for this says it over and over again. This is by fans for fans. This is a love letter to the fans. It's a tribute to the show. It's pure fan service. I don't know a single person who would actually want to watch this on purpose.
I mean, okay, I guess I get that, sure.
You know?
And if you and your friends want to put $150,000 together to make a fucking fan movie, sure, whatever. But here's the thing, guys. This was in movie theaters. This got a theatrical release. There are independent films that are not eligible for Oscars because they went straight to Netflix.
Holy shit.
This movie is technically eligible for Oscar consideration.
Screening right now.
Guys,
I see it on the website.
We should vote for it for Best Popular Movie in the Oscars.
Here's the fucking thing, guys. The hubris of this all. I'm embarrassed to tell people to listen to my podcast. I am ashamed of this thing that we do. If anyone tells me, like, hey, you have a podcast, I go, whatever. These people made a goddamn movie because they like a TV show. They made a fucking movie.
I
and
desperately
they asked other people for money
to not be podcast guy at work. Like, I scrub any possible awareness that I have a podcast from anyone I could work with, and they're just like, yeah, man, I devoted my life to a TV show. Hell yeah!
Just the utter lack of shame.
Yeah,
it's weird. It's weird to, like, I get it. Like, if you're into a thing, you want other people to be into it, but like the assumption that just like you're gonna be into this thing. I don't know what the point of this is. I don't know what...
King of the Hill is genuinely my favorite TV show of all time. I love it to death. I would never in a million years spend $200,000 making Arlen Man. Okay?
Yeah.
On the other hand, you did spend how much time cutting together every single time Bobby Hill said okay on King of the Hill?
18 months. Let's move on.
Well, that was heroic. That is to be commended.
It was for fun, okay?
I watched that video.
Cost no money whatsoever.
Honestly, I find that video pretty funny.
I made that video and I posted it on Twitter, and within like 2 minutes, somebody corrected me and said, actually, you missed one.
Magnificent.
Beautiful.
So as much of a super fan as I think I am, there's crazier people out there, and God bless them.
I mean, like, really, can you imagine, like, One Piece fans getting together and being like, hey, we made a movie about what it's like to be a One Piece fan. Like, here's all of our cosplayers. And they teach you the meaning of America. Like, doesn't exist. Would not happen.
I have a note here. Like, these people want to, and I can't believe I'm about to say this sentence. These people want to have the clout and credibility of Trekkies. So bad.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's impossible. It's like, for whatever its credits or faults are, Star Trek was a television show about something. Like, Star Trek said things. It said things over and over, very loud and very preachy. But the thing, Star Trek was about something. And people have spent a lot of time discussing and arguing and talking about the philosophies of Star Trek and the future that it provided.
Not even that. People watch Star Trek and they're like, man, I really wish I could be an alien with pointy ears who could karate chop people to death. And the fans of Andy Griffith's show just went like, man, I really wish I could be in a sheriff in a town with no black people. Like, that is just their relative ambition.
It's like there's one is a utopian vision of the future, and the other is a white person's vision of the past.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah, there it is.
Well, but that's the scope of these people's dreams. Like, people like we compared it to the people that watched Avatar and got really, really depressed that they were never going to live in Pandora. At the time we laughed at those motherfuckers, but now it's like, yeah, man, you want to live in a fucking paradise.
Yeah, Pandora rules. At least Pandora is a good place.
Yeah.
And this is my point, is that it's very weird they have just, like, I've listened to some of these podcast episodes, I've watched a lot of them. They have a whole, like, series about, like, Mayberry devotionals where they try to, like, tie an Andy Griffith Show episode into a Bible lesson. Some of them work, some of them don't. But it's very weird, like, the commitment they have to this. And yet their appreciation, their, like, engagement with the work is so shallow.
Yeah.
So surface level. Dan, you and I have definitely done way more deep diving into what this show's philosophy and overall view is than these people have. They know all of the, like behind the scenes stuff. They know all of the trivia, but that's what it is. It's trivia. It's trivial.
Yeah.
They've done zero engagement with the actual art. If they had, they would know for a fact that there are multiple episodes which say, man, small town life kind of sucks shit.
Chris Stone, he has to go to Mayberry Days. Okay, so let's fast forward to the moral of this lesson, which is like, Chris Stone is forced to be at this event. He reacts realistically. He gets horny for a lady. And then at one point he's like, fuck it, I gotta get out of here. He gets in a car, he drives away. He almost hits a turtle, pulls over to the side of the road, and he goes into the Mayberry Trading Post, which has been open since 1892.
Post is a real place.
Yeah. He walks in and he talks to an old guy, and the old guy says, like, well, you know, everybody's got complicated lives, and really, it usually is complicated because of their own choices and actions. And Mayberry is just about being content to sit down and watch the clouds, and that being enough. And that's what America's about. And Chris Stone is just like, well, I'm not an asshole anymore. I'm super into everything. And that's basically the moral of the story, is just like, hey, all of your problems are your own fault, and you don't look at clouds enough. And Chris Stone is like, yeah, fuck yeah, I get it.
Okay, so
are you saying that the moral of this movie is go touch grass, you nerds?
Basically.
Let's talk about that scene first.
They don't explicitly say like you kids are on your phone too much, but they're basically like you kids are on your phone too much.
Let's talk about that scene a little bit, all right? So Chris, he steals Dennis's Kia, and he drives his Kia Sorento, like a mile out of town. He gets a phone call. He's looking at his phone because he's about to take a call from his agent. Turtle is crossing the road, and he goes, "Oh no, a turtle!" And then, are we supposed to believe that he goes out of control? Again, it's so non-committal. The music plays like he's going out of control, but really he just kind of pulls off to the side of the road somewhat harshly. Maybe his seatbelt might have locked up because he went, oh!
Yeah.
So, but they're acting like he just went crazy and spun out.
He flipped the car.
And showed up here at this mysterious outpost. Which is like a knick-knack shop. And then, a man tells him about the miracle of Mayberry. Mayberry is just any place where people are respectful and nice to each other. It's all over the place. It's in North Carolina. It's in Indiana. Maybe it's even in California. And I got there screaming, of course it's in California! They made the fucking thing in Los
Yeah, that is just the insane thing about it is like you coastal elites. Like, you mean the people that made the fucking show?
Like, you're so close. Y'all are so close to seeing the point, and then, no, we missed it. Sorry.
Yeah.
And so obviously, like, we all see this coming from a mile away. This ends with nobody's been at the Mayberry outpost for 20 years.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But it
makes no sense.
It has the revolutionary worldview of like, hey, you know those problems you got? Have you ever tried just not having problems? And Chris Stoner's like, what?
I mean, in fairness, that is exactly how Andy Taylor approaches every single problem on the show.
Like,
so,
have you are those bills piling up? Can't pay electric this week. Have you ever tried just not having that issue? You ever just tried having more money? And then just like, oh man, you cracked it.
So
Fucking
I gotta
nailed it.
ask, guys, because this is the only thing I can say that makes any of this make sense. Was that old man supposed to be Andy Griffith?
That is, we were both bracing for it, be like, well, okay, he's gonna have like this big dark moment, and then he's gonna like sit down, and then an Andy Griffith cosplayer is going to show up, and he's gonna have a big heartfelt conversation with the Andy Griffith show cosplayer, and then at the end they're gonna be like and then at the end it'll be like, well, there was no Andy Griffith show cosplayer. And then he reveals that he actually talked to Andy Griffith. But no, that was just a guy in a fucking with a beard.
Because he doesn't look or sound anything like Andy Griffith. So, like, in order for the big reveal that he was a ghost or whatever, or a spirit to make sense, I have to know who the fuck this guy was. And the only thing I can figure is that he was supposed to be Andy Griffith, despite looking and sounding nothing like Andy Griffith.
See, at this point in the film, like, I had just resigned myself to the fact that, okay, they clearly have not cleared any, like, image of Andy in this. We're not going to get any Andy. So my first thought was, like, abandoned shop, abandoned little storefront and counter. Guy shows up. Oh, this is a Shining reference. He's talking to the bartender, and he's Jack Torrance, right?
Yeah.
He will have always been in Mayberry.
Well, you could easily recut the Mayberry Man as a Shining, like, horror film. Like, half of it takes place in a motel anyway.
And if I'm being serious and honest, like, the main failing of this is they didn't go hard enough on like any direction, but like any like direction that made this somewhat interesting. Like, yes, make a Mayberry Man a horror movie, please, for the love of God.
Well, it is like the Shining. They definitely had to cut a part of that guy saying the N-word, so it did have the Shining similarity in there too.
And the fun girls were basically like the old lady in the bathtub, so kind of the same.
Oh, come play with us, Stone, forever and ever and ever.
Little redheaded kid on a tricycle.
Yeah.
Oh my god. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't work for anything. And then he's like, okay, well, I'm a nice guy now. Should we talk about I don't even want to call her the love interest. The woman in the movie?
The woman with 3 lines in the entire movie?
The woman who exists.
Like, there's, I don't know, fairly attractive young woman in the movie. So Chris is like, and she's supposed to be the, like, organizer. Everyone says, oh, Kate's the person organizing this whole thing. Kate runs Mayberry Days. Why? Like,
yeah.
What does Kate get out of this? Like, what is Kate's motivation for this?
Kate never explains her reasoning for doing all this. Like, and she doesn't do anything to prompt, like, him liking her. He's just like, hey, baby, I sure do like the way you occupy physical space. Oh, yeah.
I mean, in fairness, every shot she's in, it's all negative space except for her. It's like a blank wall and then a woman. So, hell yeah, you're right. That is the most attractive thing in this shot. That is where my eye goes.
That's just basic cinematography, yeah. But like, yeah, it goes back to like this has the structure of a Hallmark film. It's like, of course he has to go to the small town. Of course there has to be the love interest. Of course he has to learn a lesson about life. But it's all just so perfunctory and like underwritten. Like, why? Why anything?
I gotta say, like, he has a couple of conversations with Kate. There's a weird like, oh, you young people and your hookup culture, because he asks his gay friend, like, hey, how would you make a move on Kate? Gay friend is like, don't make a move. Just get to know her. Yeah, I don't know. It's dumb. It's very, like, youth groupy. But Kate, I don't remember a single line she says because she talks like this. I have to get real close. She doesn't deliver any line above a whisper.
She's just like all of her lines are like, I'm busy. I sure am busy. Gotta go over there. Gotta set up some folding chairs. Oh, I'm so busy right now. I sure am busy. Well, goodbye.
The one scene where he actually like hits on her directly to her face and she just goes, yeah, no thanks.
That's very funny.
That's
like,
so crazy because like in a Hallmark movie, she would have been like, I don't like you for these, and these flaws that you need to resolve. And she's just like, nah, not feeling it.
And then she apologizes, though. Like, I was on Kate's side. She was just like, yeah, I'm not into this. Bye. And then, like, the next time we see her, she's like, I'm sorry I was a bitch who wasn't attracted to you.
Sorry for that outburst. I didn't mean to fly off the handle like I did.
What the fuck, movie?
Blandest turn down ever. She wasn't like, you need to get over yourself. You think you're such hot shit, Chris Stone? Well, you're not too good for Mayberry. You're not too good for these people. You need to learn small town values. She's just like, oh, I recognize your romantic advances. And while I appreciate them, I do not reciprocate them. Thank you for your time. Have a gift basket on your way out. And I look forward to our business collaborations in the future. And then she's later like, man, I'm so sorry. I fucked up there. I flew off the fucking handle. So fucking bad.
This woman did nothing wrong.
No.
Not a bit.
She arguably didn't do anything to begin with.
Right.
She's true neutral.
I mean, she's the director of Mayberry Days, so I don't know.
All right, so let's talk about the
That
film's,
is true.
Let's talk about the film's only like hint at conflict, right? Which is that
the most insane thing I've ever seen in a motion picture. Yes, go on.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Yeah.
Actually, I'm sorry, teaser, folks. Let's talk about the one wacky hijink that happens in this movie. Is that after Chris gets the Mayberry spirit, he's hanging around with Alan Newsom, who is Floyd. He's hanging around with Floyd and Barney, and they're talking about how like they really like the squad car that they've got, but it's a replica. They could only get themselves an original squad car from the television show. And Chris goes, well, I know where there's a squad car. There's one over in Wilmington, Wilmington, North Carolina, which, not to dox you, Joe, but isn't that about where you are?
That's where I went to college, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And he goes, yeah, there's one over there. I filmed a movie over there. There's a movie studio. They've got one over there. Which made me wonder, why the fuck did that trial have to take place in Georgia?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm still back on the Georgia thing, right? It makes no sense.
We're not getting over Georgia.
Look, I get my peaches out in Georgia. Oh, that shit. Okay, listen. They give a plausible reason why Chris Stone would have been in Georgia, right? The judge says, well, I get movie stars all the time. They come to Georgia, they come to Atlanta to film their movies, and they think they can do whatever they want. Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. A lot of movies are filmed in Atlanta.
Spoiler alert, one of the studios that films in Atlanta is Screen Gems. Where is Screen Gems headquartered? Wilmington, North Carolina.
Okay, I'm just going to assume, based on that information, that the movie studio they go to is belongs to Screen Gems.
I have to assume that, yes.
Yeah. So they give a plausible explanation. But if you're going to say that Chris was already in North Carolina anyway, then what the fuck, man? Why?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so Chris says there's a squad car out in North Carolina or out in Wilmington. Let's all go there. And so the fucking cosplayers and Chris drive in a car. They go and they say like, hey, they trespass on the movie studio property. They find the car. It's unlocked. He asks the Barney impersonator, "Do you want to sit in the squad car?"
Pause. 1 sec. We need to stop it apart because these three guys get in a car together and they are alone and they are driving to this studio. And Alan Newsom and the guy cosplaying as Barney start having a conversation where they are referring to each other as Floyd and Barney exclusively. There is no one there. It is not Mayberry days anymore. There are three guys in a fucking car, at which point Chris Stone should be like, "Oh, you dudes are, like, we need to get you to a fucking doctor because you are fully delusional."
It's so weird. It's like, again, it could be good if they were playing versions of themselves. If they had the self-awareness. It's so weird, the lack of self-awareness in all of this, right?
Like they could have almost had a moment of truth where they could have almost had a moment of truth where he like says that to them and they just turn around and say, "Hey, fuck you. This is fun for us, okay? Just let us have this moment." But they don't do that.
Let us have this. Like, he does yell at them. He's like, "Hey, man, what are you doing here?" Like,
how many times do you think Alan Newsom has been tased while trying to break into Howard McNear's house? Is it upwards of 4?
The McNear family estate definitely has a restraining order on that man.
Yes. They have a shoot to kill order on Alan Newsom.
It's so weird. And look, one of my favorite movies of all time is Galaxy Quest, right? And if there's just a little tiny hint of self-awareness, if they had gotten in the car and just been like, "Whew, all right, man, what's up? How's it going?" And they do that just for a second, just for a minute. 1 second, where they go to the thing, they go to the movie studio, the Barney Fife impersonator gets in the car, makes... How are we going to describe the face that this guy makes, fellas?
Eldritch horror.
Like Cthulhu's orgasm.
Yeah. It is... It's like opening the Ark of the Covenant. I felt my face melt off. It is... He does... I want that scene tried in the fucking Hague. Like, it is unholy. Because he tries to do all of the Don Knotts facial expressions unsuccessfully in rapid succession, which the result is a man who is trying to move his lips up above his forehead. Like, his lips start, like, wandering all over his face, almost defying, like, all natural anatomy as his eyes try to claw their way out of his skull. Did I capture it? Is there anything?
I think you nailed it.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, yeah.
While they're there, they stumble across some car thieves trying to steal another car. It's a General Lee, right?
Yeah, it's a General Lee.
Yeah. So I guess this is just like a classic car collector or whatever. So there's some car thieves. They say that they're going to steal the General Lee, but you know what car thieves generally do, guys? You know what one thing I know about stealing cars is you want to take as much time as possible.
Yeah.
You want to hang around and talk about the thing you're going to... What's that movie called? Gone in 90 Minutes?
Yeah.
Like, they sit around, they stumble across a car theft in progress. But they just kind of fucking jaw jack. Like, they just kind of stumble across some guys hanging around the General Lee talking. And they go, "Well, they're going to steal this car. Should we stop them?" Barney Fife would stop them. And then we drop kayfabe for 1 second. And the Barney Fife impersonator goes, "My name's Warren, man."
I work at a hardware store. I'm very uncomfortable with all of this and I don't want to go almost die, please. I would like to go home, not back to my family because they don't talk to me anymore, but I hate this. And they're like, "Well, what would Barney Fife do?" Triggering his, like, delusion.
I'm going to say Dan just put 500% more effort into giving Warren some character development than Warren does himself. All he says is, "My name is Warren."
Yeah. It's, like, almost sad that this, like, poor guy is like, "Please, I don't want to die." And they're like, "Barney Fife demands that you sacrifice yourself to stop a car theft." Like, bleed yourself on the altar of Fife.
So they do manage to stop the car theft because the quote-unquote actual police show up. But somehow the actual police uniforms looked faker than the fucking Don Knotts uniform.
They just hired like a Blackwater mercenary for that one scene. It was cheaper than hiring a fake cop.
No,
Blackwater is falling on some hard times.
Yeah, dude, Blackwater... No, you're wrong. Blackwater has money. This was like Sentinel Mall security.
Well, then they did it pro bono then. I don't know.
Yeah.
Out of the goodness of their black hearts, they showed up for an Andy Griffith fan film.
Red Triangle or whatever the fuck they're calling themselves are just like they have like all corporations a charity initiative, but it's just for bullshit like this.
So then they I guess they all drive back to fucking Mount Pilot / Mayberry / Danville, Indiana, and then we get the conflict of the movie, I guess, which is that Kate, who, may I remind you, is the organizer of this event. We are told multiple times that Kate runs everything at this place. It's literally her only character trait. The judge from Georgia, who I guess plays Mayor Pike or one of the mayors, shittily, doesn't do a fucking Mayor Pike impression whatsoever, doesn't at all look like a fucking honey bear trapped in a hole, says, hey, good job, I'm gonna go ahead and say that your probation has been settled. Here I am just yelling your personal business within earshot of everyone. That's cool. He walks off, I don't know, 10 feet away, and then Kate goes, what do you mean probation? You mean you didn't want to be here?
Like, was that not obvious?
Yeah.
Yeah, did he act for any point like he was here of his own free will? He basically, like, was actively trying to escape.
And everybody's, like, hurt for a minute, right? That, like, he, quote-unquote, lied about why he was there. No, he didn't. You never asked. Maybe you should have asked, Kate, the organizer of the event.
Like, hey, is my keynote speaker going to try to flee into the night at any point? I should probably check up on that.
Why did the judge, who appears at this event every year, not tell Kate what was going on? And then all of the cosplayers kind of gather around. Out of nowhere, there are only like 3 in the scene to begin with, and then there are 10, like, none of whom Chris has interacted with this entire time.
And Don Knotts' daughter is very disappointed in you, sir.
And they all kind of go, oh, you didn't really want to be here? And he's like, I want to be here now. And they go, okay.
Yeah. They're like, he was like, yeah, but I learned my lesson. Oh, hell yeah. Awesome.
Conflict averted, which, again, that's how they did conflict in the Andy Griffith Show.
Yeah.
Drink.
You can learn anything in 22 minutes.
Or 0.5 seconds.
However long it takes.
He's just like, yeah, man, an old ghost man told me that, I don't know, I should chill out more, and I'm happy now.
It's like that Garth Marenghi's Dark Place thing of like, I know writers that use subtext and they're cowards, but it's like, I know writers that use basic conflict and they're cowards. Like, it's just so shitty.
Ghost told me to touch grass, and then I showed a fake cop car. I love this place.
I made a mentally ill person attack a bunch of armed criminals, and now I've learned the meaning of America.
God bless us, everyone.
So fucking terrible. I do want to shout out one of the weird... There's a lot of horrible product placement in this, but the one that is the most egregious is that at one point Chris Stone calls his assistant and is like, hey, where the fuck are you? And Chris's assistant is like, I'm golfing. Hey, where are we? And 3 guys just go, you're at Twin Rivers Golf Course, the best golf course in all of North Carolina. Again, looking in the camera, best golf course in North Carolina, Twin Rivers. Let's also point out that there is, by the way, that golf course scene contains
the only moment where I laughed at this entire movie. That character also later buys a home from Values Home Realty.
Yeah.
Values Home Realty. Selling homes in the greater North Carolina area. Inside the triangle.
Sorry, it was Family Values Home Realty.
Twin Bridges Golf Club is, of course, in Danville, Indiana. So it's not the best anything in North Carolina. The best golf course in North Carolina is Pinehurst. You might have heard of a little golf course called Pinehurst. Yeah, that's here.
Jesus Christ. North Carolina should sue this fucking movie.
Listen, I am like mostly ambivalent on the subject of the Andy Griffith Show. I'm genuinely embarrassed to have seen this movie. I'm embarrassed for my state.
I honestly, from having watched this, I would have assumed that the place you grew up is a shithole. It's a very poor representation. Wow, this place looks fucking horrible. And now I know it wasn't even the same goddamn state.
I mean, much like the Andy Griffith Show, it's a facsimile of nothing.
Oh my god.
I'm losing my fucking mind here, guys.
It's insane.
This is precisely why you had me on this episode, and I appreciate you guys.
That means it was. Hang on. That means they took time out of this movie to look directly in the camera and plug a golf course incorrectly.
6 states away from the place that they claim they're actually standing.
It doesn't even work as a plug because you can't go there.
I'm going to go to Mayberry, North Carolina, and look up Twin Bridges Golf Club. What do you mean I can't find it on the map?
None of the things you said in that sentence are real.
That's so great. Oh man, that golf course that I saw a corner of sure did look great. I can't wait to go to North Carolina to go visit it. Plugging it into Google Maps. Oh, that can't be right.
Joe, you may have just said you may as well have just said you wanted to go play air hockey in Narnia.
I mean, do you guys want to go play ping pong on the moon? Let's go.
Kinda, yeah.
That would be a very hard game. You would need a ping pong table so big.
One serve and it's over. Oh my god, are we done yet?
I want to go play darts in the world from Chronicles of Riddick.
Oh, let's go play Foursquare on Crematoria.
Is that what that fucking planet was called?
Oh yeah, I'm not that clever. That's what that planet was called.
Hell, well, arguably neither are they.
Well, I mean, I couldn't come up with something that obviously stupid. You know, come on. Please, can we get to the end of this? I have sleep to get right now.
No, we've done this long enough.
I'm playing around. Let's keep on trucking.
I think that's everything I got. I think we've gone through my notes.
The last little twist in this, like. I thought they were done, right? I thought oh, he learned his lesson and he got the girl and great. Okay, fine. But no, it's 6 months later or however long it was. Chris is back in his home in Malibu in the house that he claims he bought from Clark Gable's estate, which whatever, fine.
What? Well, sure, whatever.
Quit lying to me, Mayberry days. And then he gets a visit from fake Floyd the Barber and fake Barney Fife. And they're out of character. They're actual real human selves. And they act like real human beings for half a second in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chris announces that he bought the movie studio.
Yeah.
Right.
Because he presents the town of Mayberry with the squad car from the movie studio.
It's just a shitty version of the I bought the airline line from Inception.
Yeah. And I mean, you saw the car. It was a rusted shitbox that was way worse than the fake one they have back in Mayberry. Who cares?
I don't fucking get it. And again, right, I thought Chris was worried about his career. I thought his last movie tanked and he was running out of money or something. They don't really understand how much money people make. So
he bought a movie studio. And not just any movie studio. He bought Screen Gems.
He bought Screen Gems!
Yeah!
Chris Stone is starring in Resident Evil movies now, apparently.
He bought a movie studio. You know that thing that mid-level actors can do just like on a lark? A guy who has a film career that's not going great just buys a fucking movie studio. I really loved when Bruce Campbell bought Lionsgate. I thought that was a really solid move on his part.
Jeremy Renner now owns A24. That's going to go in a weird direction.
Yeah. All the main actors are now wearing pork pie hats. It's kind of weird. Fucking, yeah.
How, in universe, right, how well known do you think Chris Stone is? Right? He's not an A-lister.
Like he was on a TV show. He was in a couple of movies. I'm going to say he's like on the level of like a David Arquette.
Ooh, okay.
You know?
I would give him a little more. David Arquette now or
like,
David Arquette in the 90s?
Like Scream 2 David Arquette. That's kind of where I feel like he's kind of. I mean, that's the level.
Again, Marvel has broken everything because I would put him like at a Chris Pratt or a Jeremy Renner level.
I would put him at Renner. I think I would put him at Renner. Renner is what I would say. But like Renner now, not Hurt Locker Renner. Renner like in this exact moment.
You know what? That kind of tracks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I could see Chris Stone having his own bullshit iPhone app. Sure.
The Chris Stone app. I will 100% download the Chris Stone app for updates on Chris Stone's career. And
when is Vegan Gringo 2 coming out? I need to know.
I want behind the scenes photos from Satan's game plan and I want them yesterday.
So then, look.
Does he decide that shellfish is okay? I have to know.
So then everybody, like, shows up. There's a really weird scene where Chris's mom, who I think might be Dixie Griffith, I don't know. But, like, this dude has Happy Birthday sung to him twice in its entirety.
Yeah.
Turns out Happy Birthday is a really fucking long song.
Yeah.
He calls his mom, who he has moved into his old house, and she sings him Happy Birthday. And then Alan Newsom and the fucking Barney Fife guy show up. And then they take him outside and they're like, hey, look, everybody that you knew in Mayberry days, all these people that you definitely interacted with, you know, off camera, they're all here to sing you Happy Birthday too. What?
And he's like, come on into my house, bunch of strangers.
And then Kate is there too. And that is when also they do the reveal that like, oh, there's never been a Mayberry trading post in years, you weirdo, and then movie over.
They reveal that he's kind of forgiven his father. Has the wonderful message of like, hey, are you traumatized by your alcoholic dad? Walk it off, pussy. Like, like just absolutely like just squeezing in a nice little toxic message there.
Barney Beater 10.
Yeah. It was agonizing. I think it was the worst thing. Like, we've watched terrible shit for this, like, but usually, like, fun, terrible. This was physically painful. This was like getting waterboarded with folksiness.
And again, look, it's so pretentious and sanctimonious about the whole thing, right? If it was just, I'm always willing to leave like things like, all right, I wasn't the audience for this. You guys put together a bunch of money to make a movie for yourselves, whatever. Like, there's probably a better use of $150,000. Maybe for $150,000, you could have given the camera to someone who, I don't know, knows how to operate a goddamn camera. There were multiple points in this movie where I yelled, focus! Focus the goddamn camera and then start the shot!
The best
Holy
part
shit!
Was when they were doing a tracking shot and you just yelled, did he just fucking trip?
Yeah, there are tracking shots all over this where you can tell that the wheels are bumping on something and like they don't even care. They're not doing a second take of this. We just have to move.
Very charitable of you to assume that there were wheels, my dude. Like, That is giving them a lot of credit. I'm pretty sure it was a guy holding a camera.
I assumed that they just took like a baby Bjorn and just strapped it to the front of a guy's chest and then put the camera in that.
I have made enough shitty tracking tripods in my day to know what a bad tracking shot looks like. And they definitely just dragged a fucking desk chair across concrete.
I will 100% go to the mat that they asked the cameraman, hey, Carlos, do you want some sort of apparatus to put the camera on during this tracking shot? And he was like, nah, man, my hands are steady as shit. Like, he was like, I got this.
There's definitely at least one time where you can see the camera bounce up and down with footsteps. Like, there's at least one, and it's some like romantic scene where our characters are like talking to each other. I don't know.
Hey there, small child in roller skates. You want to make $5 today?
Let me balance a camera on top of your fucking head.
Anyway, look, if you guys want to make a movie for yourselves, fucking more power to you. But you are actively making the world worse.
Yeah.
like if this was like, I don't know, like a Deadpool cosplayer, the most annoying kind of cosplayer, making a YouTube video, I'd be like, this is dumb, but whatever. But these are people who literally build fucking life lessons around this shit. They literally come to say that this is the way that they think the world should be. They vote that way. They campaign this way. You know, these people are actively making the world a worse place, and it's because they believe in a made-up land where there are no black people, and one big brave daddy solves everything. But we can't say his name. It's like G-D. He's too holy to say his name. Fucking disrespectful, alright? Look, if you can't get clearance from the Andy Griffith estate, don't make the movie.
Yeah. It's kind of, I feel like we discovered, like...
A cult! We discovered a cult!
We discovered, like, the worst guys. Not, like, in terms of, like, sheer amount of evil they've put out in the world, but just, like, in terms of, like their stats. They're real low. Like, we discovered the worst collection of people. Just the most pointless human beings. It's awesome.
It's, like... the banality of evil fan club, right? It's such a boring, unrecognizable thing, but just so deeply, deeply disgusting at its core. If you spend 3.5 goddamn years thinking about it like we have.
You know what's awesome is that immediately after sentencing Chris Stone, that judge denied bail to a black teenager.
And then booked his flight to Mount Airy, North Carolina that day. I will give them this. He flies into the Mayberry Municipal Airport, and I stopped the movie because I wanted to know, does Mount Airy actually have a fucking airport? Holy shit, they do. They got something right. Kind of, sorta.
Good for you guys, Mount Airy.
You have an airport. Nobody uses it, but it's definitely there.
Yeah.
Oh, God. So Mayberry Man 2, when's it gonna happen?
Fucking, they'll probably, like, raise $500,000 on Kickstarter immediately after this.
I mean, I don't know, man. Look, first off, we haven't even mentioned the fact that Clint Howard is in the credits, but not in the movie.
How did they not get Clint? It's not like Ice Cream Man 2 is coming out anytime soon. He has all the free time in the fucking world.
Do you think, like, how much, taking bets here, guys, how much of that $150,000 budget do you think was Clint?
$20.
I'm gonna say, like, are we thinking 4 figures here?
Here's a check and leave me alone.
That's kind of, so that's the question is, how much disposable income does Clint Howard have versus how desperate is Clint Howard to make this movie? That's a real unstoppable force, immovable object.
I think slightly weirder than the no mention of Andy Griffith is that, like, if Chris Stone is a big Hollywood actor, I guess he's probably met Ron Howard at some point, right?
Ron Howard totally directed Vegan Gringo.
Ron Howard, yeah! That seems like a fucking Ron Howard movie. It went straight to Netflix. It's some fucking hillbilly elegy shit. But, like, he's probably hung out with Ron Howard at some point. So it's really weird that they don't fucking mention that ever. But when you see Clint's name in the credits, you're like, okay, I get it. Yeah, like...
What could the plot of Vegan Gringo possibly be? Like
okay, let's think about this. I think that Vegan Gringo is about a LA or San Francisco hippie. Mm-hmm. It's a fish out of water comedy about an LA or San Francisco hippie who goes to a Mexican slum on let's say Peace Corps mission, and it becomes like a Dangerous Minds kind of thing where he teaches the cartel kids about, I don't know, healthy eating, and they form a garden together. They put down the drugs and the guns, and they put together a garden. That's what Vegan Gringo's about.
See, I think it's about like a Hollywood actor who's really big into the vegan scene. Mm-hmm. And he gets arrested in Tijuana for speeding. Mm-hmm. And the judge forces him to spend a week in a Mexican barbecue festival.
I'm going to say that he's like a cool hitman operating out of Tijuana, but his defining trait is like people are like, hey man, you want to eat some chorizo? And he's like, nah, I'm vegan. Like that's his defining characteristic. It's like his cool quirk.
Oh, it's like that Pierce Brosnan movie, The Matador.
Yeah. Where he's always fighting those bulls. I haven't seen The Matador, but I'm assuming that they're like, hey man, what's going on? Be like, nothing much, just fought a bunch of fucking bulls.
So during the end credits of this movie, they show like all of the Kickstarter like credits, all the people who kickstarted this stupid thing,
and it goes on for like 8 minutes.
And I tried to like look through it, but then at some point I noticed they must have done it by tiers, because it would go in alphabetical order, and then it would run out, and then it would start over again.
Yeah, Dan and I noticed the same thing.
No, it wasn't. No. They started to do alphabetical order and then got bored. Like, they were sorting them by alphabetical order, and then they were like, well, this sucks. Just dump the rest of the fucking names in there.
I'm out of coffee and it's 4 a.m. and I gotta go to bed. I just copy paste. I'm done. Bye, guys.
Yeah.
But I noticed there was one name like I recognized as the brother of a friend of mine. So I had to go onto Discord and say, hey, can you ask your brother a really weird question for me? Did he kickstart an Andy Griffith Show movie? Thank God he said no, but like it was such an oddly specific name. I thought, there's no way. There's just no way. And thank God, no, he didn't.
Or he lied.
Or he
why
lied
would you
me.
admit to that?
I did notice there was one guy in the credits as a backer named Randy Travis. And
I saw that.
I had to go back for a second and be like, that's not the Randy Travis, right? That reminds me, everything in this movie treats everything like a cameo. Like everything in this movie acts like I'm supposed to know who this is. Stark Howell has a scene in this movie. Like, the producer shows up in this movie to, like, be a guy checking in at the hotel. And he's like, whoa, this is wild. Are you going to have Ernest E. Bass here? And it like, focuses on him forever. So I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Was he on the Andy Griffith Show? Like, who is this dude? Like, it's clearly someone. It's no one!
It's just some dude! It's awesome.
Well, yeah, anyway, it's not Randy Travis. Number one, I can recognize Randy Travis on sight. I'd be like, is that fucking Randy Travis? Number two, Randy Travis has more than $150,000 kicking around. Like, if he wanted to make this movie himself, he could.
The music. Guys, the music. There is actually a subsection of dad rock that is divorced dad rock. Which I discovered through this.
It always has like that Randy Newman kind of vibe of just like singing a song about what's on screen, but it's just like if the writing wasn't good enough, the song, don't worry, the lyrics will tell you what's going on. Oh, is Chris upset? Well, here's a song called "You Can't Kick Me Around."
It's so great. Oh, it's fantastic. The lyrics are all so generic where it's just like, gonna have a good time with my friends out in the town. Like, just the most generic sequence of events narrated to soft guitar.
I hate to break it to you guys, I have discovered the Mayberry Man music video.
Oh, fuck you.
Jesus.
Fuck you, you son of a bitch. I'm clicking this.
Yeah, one sec.
Oh, okay, yeah, this is the music video for Mayberry Man, which is a song, it's a theme song, and it plays over the credits.
Right
there
now
have been 934 views at this point. By the way, I've got to point out that Levi Riggs wrote this song with Stark Howell and a man named Jefferson Denham.
Levi and Denham together at last.
So that guy's clearly in witness protection, right?
Why am I listening to this?
Okay, this isn't a music video.
The show just stopped so we could listen to this song.
Hold on. You gotta jump to the 106 mark.
Oh, there's a crowd.
The cosplayers storm the stage.
Man, it's the red carpet event for the movie.
Yeah, Alan Newsom is going around pretending to cut people's hair. Jesus.
Oh, okay. Brett Varvel shows up as Chris Stone.
The Gomer is doing a horrible little dance in the background.
There's
I can't.
Yeah,
there's the Hoot Jug Man. There's Chris Stone. Look at that guy. All right, I'm done with this shit.
I'm done with this.
It's horrific. That drummer is putting in real effort as if he's trying to escape this band.
I don't know what to say here, guys. Like, nostalgia is a disease, and fandom is a cult. I almost said femdom is a cult there, which is a different thing entirely. Holy shit. All right, gentlemen, did we learn anything from Mayberry Man?
Well, as Bob Dylan once said, nostalgia is death, which I think has never been more effectively illustrated.
Look, I mean, like, it's in these people's vested interest to keep, like, people interested in the Mayberry cinematic universe. It's very weird to me because, like, these folk don't even seem to like anything beyond season 5 all that much, right? First off, I want to point out they're in the credits, but I didn't see a single Aunt B in this movie. I didn't see a fucking I don't know.
There was briefly an Opie, by which there was a kid with a bowl cut.
Yeah, there was a small red-haired child.
Not even red. He was blonde.
It was the kid from the DVD cover of the Mayberry Effect.
Yeah.
It was just a picture of a kid who looked like Opie.
Fucking horrific.
Yeah, but yeah, like this. I mean, that should tell you everything you need to know. Like, from what little I know about like the later seasons of the Andy Griffith Show, like nobody really cares about the color era because did you see a Howard Sprague cosplayer in this movie? No, right? You did not.
No. There's no, like, it's strange that these people have built an identity around like the first 5 seasons. I guess there was one guy from Gomer Pyle USMC. The sergeant shows up, which is weird because that's distinctly not Mayberry. But whatever. And there's no reference to Mayberry RFD because no one gives a shit about that show.
Danny Thomas cosplayers don't show up. None of that shit.
No one's doing a face in the crowd. Like, it's very fuck. I mean, if you had like one guy dressed as Matlock, it would make more sense.
Yeah.
But it would be as if, and I guess some people have done this on the internet, if you based your entire like existence around The Simpsons season 3 through 9.
I mean, there's certainly white men who have tried.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's half of Twitter.
This was just like watching absolute carnage, but nobody is aware of it. Like, it's like if I was watching Chernobyl, but everybody in it was smiling and having a great time. Like, everybody's just like, let's go play volleyball. Yeah, our skin is sloughing off of our bones. Woo!
I guess my big takeaway here is you're not better than me for liking the Andy Griffith Show. You're almost certainly a worse person than me for this, actually.
We discovered that, like, this was supposed to just be a fun thing where we razz on a TV show, and we discovered the worst guys. Like,
we really discovered, like, the origin of evil in America.
Fucking insane. Well, thanks
Joe.
Thanks, Joe, for being here during our dark journey.
Thanks for shit talking my home. I appreciate it. No.
Joe,
No.
Where should I go? If
we
North Carolina
defended your home. Anything, we were like, how dare these people slander your home?
North Carolina seems like a beautiful place. My father actually lived in North Carolina, and I've never been there. Like,
I thought I'd seen North Carolina and disliked it, but apparently I haven't seen jack shit. So
turns out you actually hate Indiana, and that's okay.
And you know what? We're taking the firm stance. Indiana can fuck itself.
Yeah, I've been to Indiana, and it sucks ass.
It's the most
Joe.
Pointless place in the world.
Joe, where should we go in North Carolina? Or if you don't want to talk about North Carolina, which is understandable, where can we listen to your shit?
I don't want to dox myself, so I have to be very careful here.
Okay. Then
the Breaking Mayberry fans will SWAT your house if you give them an ounce of vulnerability.
Maynard Barry is coming.
Yeah.
The Mayberry Man fans will swap my house if they hear this. What are you talking about? No, go to the beach. Just go touch sand, you nerds.
Fucking nerds.
No, I host 2 podcasts because I hate myself and also sleep.
I forgot to promote your other podcast.
It's okay. Christmas Creeps, which I've done we just started our 8th season, and I can't believe I even said that out loud. But yeah, we shit talk Christmas movies much in the same spirit as you guys shit talk the Andy Griffith Show all year round. That's at Christmas Creeps on Twitter. You can go follow us and do all that fun stuff. And also my second podcast is called The OST Party, where my co-host and I take a movie soundtrack and we break it down song by song and kind of just talk about like the cultural moment of that movie and that soundtrack and how and why it's all terrible.
Have you done the Jerry Maguire soundtrack? Because I feel like that one would have some fucking meat on those bones.
That really would. We've talked about it before. Maybe someday soon. Like our most recent one was on Wayne's World for the 30th anniversary, and we just felt so old.
Oh, fuck. Well, that's an important one.
Yeah, but yeah, OST Party on Twitter, Christmas Creeps on Twitter. I am at Cordial Wombat on Twitter as well.
On Twitter, I am at Schneid Remarks. We are on Twitter at Break Mayberry. I think I'm going to put these fucking terrifying pictures of Maynard J. Barry up on Instagram.
Along with all the YouTube clips that were shared in this chat. We're dumping all of it in there.
Okay, follow us on Twitter if you don't already. This is our 100th episode. This is an extra long episode.
And arguably our saddest, I think.
Thank you. Says, Dan, thank you for going on this journey with me. I know you didn't want to do it at first. I know you've been trying to escape for years.
Yeah, I've developed Stockholm Syndrome, basically.
So I'm glad to have you on my side, and I'm glad to have you as my host, my co-host, the other host.
Yeah,
that's what we say. Joe, thank you for being on the show. Thank you, listeners, for sticking around with us for 100 stupid episodes.
100 godforsaken episodes.
We're going to wrap this all up here. Here's to, God, I hope not 100 more.
Oh, God, please. Let us be in different places in our lives by then.
I'll be back for number 200.
Yeah, we're dragging you to hell with us, bud.
All right.
Sounds like fun.
Good night, everybody. We'll see you all down at the fucking fishing hole.